There are over 7,000 languages in the world. Australia alone has around 300 distinct Indigenous languages. Of these, there are only about 20 to 25 languages that are spoken actively by Indigenous communities. Linguists at the University of Melbourne have been going into Indigenous communities to record and better understand these oral languages.
Indigenous languages are very, very interesting in lots of respects. They show a lot of grammatical structures and features that other languages don't share. They give us great insight into the way their speakers conceptualise the world around them, the way they talk about things, what's important to their culture and their worldview.
Documenting languages, which in Australia at least are dying at a very rapid rate, is crucial for understanding the range of variability that you can get in language. And without that documentation, we wouldn't know that.
One thing that we find in a lot of Indigenous languages is that they're quite unusual amongst languages of the world in grammaticalising notions of kinship or the way in which people are related to each other. And kinship is very, very important in Indigenous culture. There are Indigenous languages that require their speakers to be paying attention to the way in which people are related to each other.
One of the languages Associate Professor Nordlinger has been researching is Murrinh-patha, which has almost 3,000 speakers in the Northern Territory. This is a significant language for research as it's one of the largest living, breathing Indigenous languages in Australia.
Almost every time you use a noun in Murrinh-patha, you also need to use the appropriate noun class marker that goes along with it. And what the noun class markers do is group nouns into certain categories based on their meaning. It's very interesting to look at the categories and the different classes because often they reflect things that are culturally important. And if we look at the Murrinh-patha categories, we find that there's a noun class for human beings, there's a noun class for other animates like animals and so on, one for dangerous things, which includes boomerangs, also lightning. But we also have a noun class for spears, which would not be common in other languages of the world.
The University of Melbourne will host a new Centre for Excellence for the Dynamics of Language, which will be housed in the School of Language and Linguistics. It's dedicated to unearthing new insights about language and the way languages differ and evolve.
The centre's concerned with looking at the diversity of language, and we're interested in looking at to what extent can languages diverge, how different can they be.
You could think of language as being the essence of what it is to be a human. So all human beings have language, and no other species has language anything like what human beings have. You could always think of each language like a different window from which speakers look out at the world around them.